It's interesting to me that in Mark's gospel, the first instance that he shows Jesus using his power takes place in a synagogue where he teaches with authority and then performs an exorcism. He drives out an unclean spirit from somebody. Mark makes the point throughout his gospel that you can't divorce, you can't separate Jesus' teaching ministry from his healing ministry. They go hand in hand. Now, the people of Jesus' time believed that spirits were everywhere, good and bad. Now, modern-day Westerners don't have that same feeling, do we? For example, this man possessed in the synagogue, we today would explain away by using science and medicine. So often, modern-day Westerners get confused or don't know what they're supposed to take away from, what they're supposed to learn from a story like today's gospel story of this possession. Now, Middle Easterners knew that the meaning was very, very plain. Spirits were everywhere. They were good, they were bad, they were whimsical and capricious. They always were interfering in everybody's life. The people in Jesus' time felt they had very little or no control over how they lived their lives because the spirits were always interfering in their lives. So this man possessed by the Spirit is very integral to this story. People there were amazed, not because there was an evil spirit in that synagogue, or even because the evil spirit entered into this person and took possession. That was something that happened every day to them. What amazed them was that Jesus of Nazareth, Jesus in Greek the tekton, which means either carpenter or somebody who's a mason, and from, of all places, Nazareth. Remember in the fourth gospel, Nathanael says, whatever good came out of Nazareth? Nothing good comes out of there. Here was Jesus teaching with authority, and the authority spilled over, and he just drove out an evil spirit to possess this man. He's not supposed to be acting that way. Carpenters don't go around driving out spirits. They just don't do that on their own authority and power. So they were amazed, like, where did he get this power? Whose power does he have? How does he do this? Well, back to spirits and how to deal with them. How would you get protection from spirits if they're always interfering in your life, good, bad, and just whimsically? Well, there are different ways. And there was a document called the Testament of Solomon, not part of Hebrew Scripture, but people knew it. It was a very popular book because it was like a physician's desk reference. If you wanted to know about spirits, you consulted the Testament of Solomon. They would list the spirit's name, what the spirit caused bad, and what you might be able to do to protect yourself. For example, one spirit's name was Mordero. We would say in English, M-O-R-D-E-R-O. He caused fevers. Now, next week in the Gospel, we're going to hear how Simon Peter's mother-in-law had a fever. That's Mordero at work. Okay? So what do? Well, Testament of Solomon says you take his name and you write it everywhere you can throughout the house, because the quote in English translation, once he sees his name, he flees immediately. What did the evil spirit in the synagogue do reference to Jesus? He saw Jesus as a spirit-filled person. So he's in competition with Jesus. So what does he do? I know who you are, Jesus of Nazareth. You're the Holy One of God. By saying his name, according to the rules of the Testament of Solomon, he's supposed to stop Jesus in his tracks. Does he? No way. Jesus is more powerful than that spirit that possessed the man. Not only is he not stopped in his tracks, he drives the evil spirit out and doesn't even mention the evil spirit's name. He doesn't have to. Our translation says something like, be quiet, go out of the man, come out of him. Quiet, come out of him. Actually, a better translation of the Greek would be, shut up and go away. And he did. Well, this was the amazement for those people. You see, throughout the Gospel of Mark, people never question whether Jesus really heals somebody. Whether they're a paralytic, or the woman with the hemorrhages, or whatever the cause was, they don't question that he's done that. They question by what authority he does that. In fact, we're going to have quotes throughout the Gospel that says, by Beelzebul, the prince of devils, he casts out devils. He's a demon himself. So the question was always, where did the authority come from? Now, for those people in that synagogue that day, the jury is still out. They don't really know where to assign this authority that he has, but they've seen it and heard it. And so they do give him a larger honor status. We hear at the very end these words, what is this? A new teaching with authority. He commands even the unclean spirits, and they obey him. And the gossip network spreads this news all throughout Galilee, it says, right? His fame spread everywhere throughout the whole region of Galilee. He has a different honor status. He's not just a carpenter from Nazareth, but where he gets his authority, that will be questioned throughout the Gospel of Mark. That's the background to the story. I was trying to think of something that we could take and apply to our lives, and it came up with something. The people in Jesus' time, because these spirits were so prevalent, felt like they had no power over how they lived. They were going to be affected by these spirits ongoing. We Westerners feel like we have some power over how we live our lives, don't we? So the question for this week I would pose to you is, how wisely or how foolishly do we use the power we have over our own behavior?